Welcome back to Reading the Bible Together. I'm here with Alyssa, and I'm Autumn. I'll start us out this time. Luke 14. One Sabbath, when Jesus went out to eat in the house of a prominent Pharisee, he was being carefully watched. There, in front of him, was a man suffering from dropsy. Jesus asked the Pharisees and experts in the law, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not?" But they remained silent. So taking hold of the man, he healed him and sent him away. Then he asked, "If one of you has a son or an ox that falls into a well on the Sabbath day, will you not immediately pull him out?" And they had nothing to say. When he noticed how the guests picked the places of honor at the table, he told them this parable. When someone invites you to a wedding feast, do not take the place of honor, for a person more distinguished than you may have been invited. If so, the host who invited both of you will come and say to you, "Give this man your seat." Then, humiliated, you will have to take the least important place. But when you are invited, take the lowest place, so that when your host comes, he will say to you, "Friend, move up to a better place." Then you will be honored in the presence of all your fellow guests. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. Then Jesus said to his host, "When you give a luncheon or a dinner, do not invite your friends, your brothers or relatives, or your rich neighbors. If you do, they may invite you back, and so you will be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous."
When one of those at the table with him heard this, he said to Jesus, "Blessed is the one who will eat at the feast in the kingdom of God." Jesus replied, "A certain man was preparing a great banquet and invited many guests. At the time of the banquet, he sent his servant to tell those who had been invited, 'Come, for everything is now ready.' But they all alike began to make excuses. The first said, 'I have just bought a field and I must go see it. Please excuse me.' Another said, 'I've just bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me.' Still another said, 'I just got married, so I can't come.' The servant came back and reported this to his master. Then the owner of the house became angry and ordered his servant, 'Go out quickly into the streets and the alleys of the town, and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame.' 'Sir,' the servant said, 'what you have ordered has been done, but there's still room.' Then the master told his servant, 'Go out to the road and the country lanes and compel them to come in, so that my house will be full. I tell you, not one of those who were invited will get a taste of my banquet.'"
Large crowds were traveling with Jesus and turning to them, and he said, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, his wife and his children, his brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. And anyone who does not carry his cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. Suppose one of you who wants to build a tower, will he not first sit down and estimate the cost to see if he has enough money to complete it? For if he lays the foundation and is not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule him, saying, 'This fellow began to build and was not able to finish.' Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Will he not first sit down and consider whether he is able with 10,000 men to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? If he is not able, he will send a delegation while the other is still a long way off, and will he ask for terms of peace. In the same way, any of you who does not give up everything he has cannot be my disciple. Salt is good, but if it loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is fit neither for the soil nor for the manure pile. It is thrown out. He who has ears to hear, let him hear." Okay, Alyssa, what's going on in chapter 14? There's a lot.
I think that last section is pretty powerful. Like, the cost of being a disciple is pretty heavy. And hearing that, like, written out for you can be tough to kind of process. But, like, we know that the fruit of it is plentiful as well. And most of it we might not even ever see. But again, just like hearing that, I feel like, especially if you're like a new believer, you might have a hard time chewing that. Like, if anyone comes to me and does not hate their father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, like, that's pretty powerful.
That is. What do you think it means by hate?
That's a good question. Does it mean like prioritizes them?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want you to put them above him?
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're not called to hate people.
Right.
So that word it's rough in the translation, but it's love less. You're loving God the most over
Right.
all of those, and prayer. Like you said last time, you're like not being Jesus isn't a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
He can say the hard things.
Yeah.
He's saying, I don't want you to put them above me, otherwise you're going to try to please them and be led astray, for sure. I think of a time where I was a believer, but I wasn't a follower. I believed in Jesus, kind of a fan, but I hadn't made him Lord of my life. And I think this is a constant, coming back to making him Lord, right? But for sure, this is that call to be all in. All in. Yeah, it's amazing. I think back to the Sabbath, right? He's really leaning into like, what is the Sabbath for? And other places it says the Sabbath is made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the point of Sabbath is we're not slaves. We get to rest, and we get to have healing and renewal and restoration in Jesus. So that day is set aside to give honor to God, but also for us to rest in him and to not strive. So they were making it about religion, not relationship. So he's keep calling them back to that. And of course the banquet is so important, just the idea that they were invited and then they rejected him, and so he goes out. I just think if you had a party and your best friends didn't come, like, what does that feel like? You're gonna go invite some different people, and he's like, all right, we're gonna graft in the Gentiles, and we're gonna heal the people that you're rejecting and looking at from not a place of love, from a place of hate. So the crippled, the blind, they literally thought that was a curse and a sin that they were blind. So to be able to say Jesus was coming in and making the low places high and the high places low.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. So good. All right. So what are we gonna do?
I think a good refresher about being humble is healthy, and the part where he talks about how if you're invited and you take the highest seat, it'll be really awkward when they come in and they're like, that's not for you, But when you humble yourself and you take the lowest seat, there's a chance they're going to be like, oh, my friend, like, what are you doing? Come on up, Yeah. And so I think that just keeping that in mind, like, there's no harm in being like more humble. There's no such thing. Like putting yourself lower in a way that honors God and is lifting him up first. Like, there might be reward in that in terms of like getting moved up to the guest of honor seat. Yeah. Or it might not, in which case you're just not embarrassed and like
you get to enjoy the dinner anyways.
You're still there at the table,
right.
And it's great and you're having a good time.
Exactly. Yeah, and I feel like Jesus too is inviting. So I'm going to keep inviting into the kingdom, keep inviting into, our community, that everybody's welcome right where they're at. And if they're kind of trying to come and find out who Jesus is, they're welcome. Yeah. All right. Well, we hope you'll join us tomorrow. Have a great day.